that, the Federation are a consciousness. They never say I, they say we.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like with White Cloud, I am aware of his energy. Energy there, and his being, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
With them, I am not aware of one individual. It is just, it's just telepathy, and that's what I say to people.
Know, so many wanted to be down here, so many souls, but the chosen ones were the strongest of the strong, because it was known what ordeal would have to be faced. Wow. And now that one is facing it, know that you are here because you deserve it, because you are strong enough to see it through and change things around. And so by hanging on to that when one is feeling low, then it is literally, that is why we say I am the light, and the mantra that is coming out, because that takes you to that place of, I remember why I said I'll go down there during those times. I remember, yes.
You got to accentuate the positive. Wow, I feel good. A little bit of feel good goes a long way.
You're listening to Karen Swain, teacher of deliberate creation, accentuating the positive, showing you a way to a better life.
Accentuating the positive, it's not just fad, it's sanity. Who in their right mind would accentuate anything else?
If you feel like that's what you want to do.
Hello and welcome to another show, Accentuating the Positive with Karen Swain. As always, fabulous to be with you again. Look who's on the show with me, the fabulous and beautiful Blossom. Goodchild, welcome to the show, Blossom.
Thank you so much, Karen. I'm so happy to be here. I'm very excited.
I know. I'm so happy to have you on. You're such a delight. You're so full of joy and laughter, and you're just my kind of gal, I tell you. My kind of gal. And remember, if you're liking the shows, to please like and subscribe and leave your comments and share the shows and all that good stuff. All righty, let me tell people who don't know Blossom a little bit about Blossom through her bio. It's a fabulous bio. I love it. Now, is Blossom your birth name, or is that a name you've given yourself?
No, I didn't give it to myself. I went to drama school when I was 18 or 17 or something. And the very first day I went for coffee with a chap, and he said to me, Marianne was my given name. Oh. And he said, Marianne's a very long name. Aren't you ever called anything else? And my stepmother used to have a friend who used to call everybody Blossom. Instead of darling type thing. He'd say, hi, Blossom, and everything. And it obviously was meant to be, because it just came out of my mouth there, and then, sometimes people call me Blossom. And it just came like that. And that was it from that day onwards. And that was like, God knows how many years ago. And I've never called myself Marianne since. It was just obviously, and my surname being Goodchild is funny, because people say, I cannot tell you, I'd be so rich, Karen, if every time I said my name, when people ask, that people go, what a lovely name. If I had $1 for every time, and I say, well, it took me a couple of marriages to get there. So I got Blossom Goodchild. I ended up with nothing like what I started with, but obviously just meant to be, I suppose.
Yeah. Totally. I was listening to Penny Kelly talking about names, and she was like Pen E, and she was saying she came in to write spiritual literature, and Pen E, electronic pen E, and I'm like, oh wow. And like Goodchild, and my last name Swain actually means common man, or and my guides have very much said stay in the audience, not to like on the stage, like be the common man, like be the guru sort of thing, like just stay real, stay real. And it's interesting, the names that come to us all.
Yeah, isn't it? Because it's so odd that I ended up with this, but truly every time somebody says, and your name, I go Blossom Goodchild, and they go, oh, what a lovely name.
I was thinking last night, I had this friend who I met when I was very young. He's an English guy. He used to work as a reporter. He's now on British radio. He's quite famous over there. I won't mention his name. But anyway, he used to love Australians, and he used to love Dame Edna Everage. And I was thinking like, Blossom pet, darling. And he thought, and when he came out to Australia chasing Koo Stark. Remember her? She was like Prince Andrew's girlfriend or something. Came out. He was working for The Sun, and he met me and some girlfriends, and he thought we were hilarious. And he said, "Oh my God, you all sound like Dame Edna Everage, darling Blossom pet." Anyway, let me read your bio. So you fit right in.
Do right.
Okay, Blossom Goodchild is a professional direct voice channel medium. She has been channeling the Native American Indian spirit energy, White Cloud, for 19 years now, and shares his message of unconditional love by means of personal readings, videos, and group events. Blossom began communicating with the Federation of Light in 2005, and their conversations are now world-renowned. You've got a great following, and the conversations are fabulous. I love them. Anyway, following her sister and family, Blossom emigrated from the UK to the Sunshine Coast, Queensland, Australia in 2000. She lives happily with her husband, Goody, and Spoodle Chief, and is blessed to have many of her family now living nearby in Australia. And she has no regrets, you say.
No,
Not one regret. Blossom is also a professional actress and continues to perform on stage when she can. Performing feels like her soul, feeds her soul. Feeds your soul, which you spoke about on one of your shows recently, and is where she feels most at home. She jokes that she has a deal with the universe. She will put her heart and soul into her spiritual work, her mission, as long as she can be in one professional show a year. Her passion. It's working very well so far.
Not this year, it's not, but that's another story, isn't it, for everybody?
Well, darling, this year's not over yet. This is
true,
and it is a kind of maybe they have to give us gratis for 2020.
I think so.
Anyway, it's still not over yet. Anyway, Blossom considers it is to be absolute honour to assist with White Cloud and the Federation of Light in getting their important messages out to as many souls as possible in order to raise the vibration of the planet and all who sail in her. I do not do Facebook, you say, Twitter or Instagram. However, you have a newsletter, lol. I am the love, I am the light, I am the truth, I am Blossom G. Okay, I was just listening to a couple of your channelings before we got on, the last two, one on the 27th, very auspicious day, the 27th, double 9 day.
Okay.
And the 20th. Actually, I loved the one on the 20th. They were both fabulous, but the one on the 20th was just amazing. Hold the light for all those that shall quiver. Depart and what have I written here? Can't even read my hopelessness will be replaced by knowing, and when this happens, others will have the same again, will be the same again. Awaken to the knowing that all is as it should be. It is happening. It is happening. This was the 20th. The 20th was really important. But let's hear how they introduced themselves to you. Obviously, you were pursuing acting when you were younger, or?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. I had no idea I'd be doing this at all. And White Cloud came along first, and that was actually sort of 21 years ago now. Do you want me to talk about that or just the Federation?
Oh, no, both. No, yeah. Let's hear how White Cloud.
Yeah, White Cloud, literally, I started having these very strange fits when I was about 17, when I first went to drama school, and nobody could find out what they were, and very sort of annoying. I'd fall on the floor and hyperventilate and conk out, and literally I couldn't respond to anybody, and yet I could hear what everybody was saying, but I couldn't respond, and I could be out like that for about 5 minutes, 20 minutes, varied. These went on. I had all kinds of, brain scans, this, that, and the other. And they went on for 17 years, intermittently, not every day, thank God. But just like, for say 4 or 5 weeks at a time, I might have 2 or 3 a day sometimes. And my eyes were dead, just dead. And if I tried to cross the road, I felt like I was just not there. And I was into spiritual stuff, but by then I was reading books and this, that, and the other. And then eventually, cut a long story short, I came across this lovely lady who came to stay with us, who's a very, very astute clairvoyant, really, I suppose. And she, as I say, long story short, she said to me, "Look, I was having a spate of these fits at the time, and I was just very depressed about it. And she said, look, and I'd done a bit of healing, Karen, once a year, this is my once a year day. It was just, very, very not a great big thing. And that was it. And once a couple of times I felt this Indian behind me, and I asked his name and got White Cloud. And that's literally as far as I'd got with that. And then she said to me, look, I've got this Indian with you, and he's asking you to get a pen and paper because he wants to come and speak with you. So I was like, all right. So I did. And he came through straight away. We made the connection. And he said, we'd arranged to do this many moons ago. And if I was still up for it, he would like to come and speak through me. And we arranged a meeting and all that. And literally from that day onwards, my fits stopped altogether. They just stopped. Right. And he has said that during that time, they were sort of rewiring me for because I'm very blessed that I don't just have White Cloud that I can get to speak through me. I can have other, as many can, I expect. But yeah, just rewiring my whole system during that time, and they went away. So that's how White Cloud began, and we just started doing these meetings, and he asked me to record everything. And the first meeting, I was like, well, I wonder what's going to take place here.
So yes. How old were you when you did your first meeting? Like, you were still 17?
No, about 40. So 21 years ago, yeah, nearly 40, about 39 type of thing. Okay. Yeah, I just hadn't, I really was into reading spiritual books, and it was so my food, but there weren't many people around in those days in Hazelmere, Surrey, England, that were into all that kind of thing at all. So I felt very alone with it. And then anyway, this came along, and, I just I had the meeting, and I took some deep breaths, and I could feel this energy, and I just thought, I knew the word he wanted to say was welcome, and it just came out in this, nowadays it's a bit of a deeper voice, but we do blend together so much more, and sometimes it sounds more or less on my tone, whereas in 21 years ago, it was like truly at least an octave lower and much slower, and it was very, very different. But over these years, we've just, it's so different now, so different. So that's how I got with White Cloud. And then through that, I think it was in 2005, I went to see a reader, and she said, you're being asked to write another book. And I've written 3 books just with White Cloud's meetings and all he had to say. I recorded them and put them into a book. And so she said, but it's different this time. They want you to sit down at the computer, and and it will come through. I didn't know who it was going to be, and she didn't say. And to be honest, at that time, Karen, I didn't really know much about the Federation of Light, or the galactic thing, and nothing about all that, really. Angels and Indians were good at the time. And so I started, they said half an hour every day. So I started the next day. And I think at the beginning of that book, which is called The Bridge, it was the I Am Presence, I guess. And somewhere within that, not very far into it, in came the Federation of Light, and that's how that all began with them. So I sat with them for half an hour every day and wrote, and they weren't there for about 2 months. I was like, excuse me, here I am and nothing. And the whole experience was very different and frustrating. And then at one point they said, okay, we're coming near the end of the book. And I was like, what have you said? What have you said? And they asked me to read the whole book through, which I did. And I was so amazed at how much sense it all made, because I never read back. I just went into each day, and I truly got it. And in those days, 2005, I was crying. I remember crying and going, I know what you want. You want me to get this out there and talk about ETs. And that was big then. If you know, it was only 15 years ago, but you know, not a lot of people were so accepting. So I was like, okay, you know, okay.
You should have
Well,
been in Byron Bay, darling. I was up there 20 years ago. We were all dressing up as our alien selves. You know, we were having a ball.
I'm sure you were, but for me, it was quite like, oh my God, people think I'm nuts as it is. And now to sort of go, oh yeah, I'm talking with ETs and all that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's how that began really. And it just sort of, you know, grew and grew and grew in its own pathway type of thing.
Yeah.
And I very rarely channel them, you know, that they come through and speak through me. I have done, but it's not, I'm much more comfortable. It's just pure telepathic.
Okay, so White Cloud is the channeling. Okay, so the channeling that I've just listened to on YouTube, 27th and 20th, is that White Cloud or the Federation?
Federation.
That's
the Federation. All the channelings that go up and that Joe and I record
are the Federation.
They're the Federation. And then White Cloud is literally, if I do a video, I'll do a little chat and White Cloud will come through.
Okay, I see.
People get it confused. It's funny because people write and say, thanks, you know, White Cloud was spot on. And really, yeah, exactly. It's all.
So here was the question I was going to ask. So what has White Cloud got to
do?
You know, I get the answer before I ask the question. Okay,
what's your answer?
He said it's a part of the Federation, of course, but he said he appeared to you as an Indian because that's what your mind could understand, and you've had many lives as an Indigenous Indian, so it's what your soul could understand, and of course he's part of them, and of course, and many of the Indigenous tribes are all connected to the Star People. They're very galactic. So that's what he said. What is he saying to you?
No, I would say exactly the same. Sometimes the federations, you know, when being asked, they've said that their comrade or whatever, White Cloud, will often pop, you know, that pops in type thing, to put it that way. But I just have to say, Karen, it did make me laugh because I was having a question and answer Zoom, you know, a while back, and somebody asked why White Cloud, because he has got a broken accent, and it used to be much stronger before, and so somebody asked why he had the accent, and I thought, well, I'll ask him. So I did. And he said, because it's attractive.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I was like, you're serious.
Okay. So he was just saying, showed me a tall grey body. And he said, this is the body I utilize more. But he said, I much prefer the Indian body with all the things. It's much prettier.
Yeah. And as he says, that the Native American, you know, that whole energy of the Native American in general, so many people are attracted to it, either because they've been in that lifetime or whatever. So therefore, he said, you know, he as far as we know, you might be able to get more than me, Karen, you're doing very well, that he was last in the sort of end of the 15th century, was his last life down here.
I didn't ask him. I was going to ask him.
No, didn't. And don't ask me the tribe. If you get the tribe, I'll go marvelous, because I've got so confused about it that I block it. But that's when Cherokee. Do you reckon? I'll just go okay, because I've had a patch. I don't know, and I as I say, I can't clear that to get it. So, and as he says, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's what he's, you know, what the words he brings through that matters. But he definitely. When I was in Arizona and in 2012, and we went to the Grand Canyon, and I let him. I said, would you like to come through? Mm. And, you know, as he looked out onto this space, he was so emotional, because it was like, I felt like he was saying he was home. And so whether it was around there, I don't know. But yeah, it was beautiful. And he was he loves to come through when I'm outside, because he can feel the wind in his hair again, and all that kind of thing, which he, you know, I never sort of really think about. But for him, he
utilizes your body to get that physical sensation.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
We were talking about that in my group the other day. One of the beautiful young light workers was saying, what do you all like about being human? And I thought, oh, isn't that a great question? You know, because when you're not human, you forget the wind on your face, the water on your skin.
Yeah.
You forget how beautiful all that is.
Definitely. You know, I've been there quite a few times, really, in that, you know, sometimes I think we all think, oh, beam me up. Scotty, I want to go home. And then, you know, it's as if they say to me, well, do you, Blossom? Do you want to come now? And I go, oh, hold on. I was just having a thought, you know, that's serious. But when I think about it, do I want to actually go home? Of course I don't. As strange as this whole world is at the time, it's too sort of, there are so many beautiful, beautiful things that we've got here, going here.
Your channeling on the 20th from the Federation reminded me of I did a Higher Self Expo with Zane Daniels, and I was reading out something Mellon Thomas Benedict said, who was a guy that had an NDE, and he saw, anyway, he's dead now, but he saw all this stuff, and he did this channeling, and there was just this one point which you reiterated, or they reiterated, that this time of great shift, this period that we're in, you know, we will be celebrated as the ones that transmuted fear to love, you know, like,
wow, yeah.
And that's not exactly the words you used, but that was the, you know, the awakening to the knowing, going from despair to hopelessness to knowing, like transmuting that energy. And how amazing it is. It might not be easy, but how amazing it is. This time on earth is just such.
That's right. And as they're saying, you know, we've been waiting for so long for this thing. And now it is happening. We are in it. And as much as I can't speak for you, but I personally have many ups and downs during this year, you know, it more than any other time in my life and everything. Yet when I've got a grasp of it and I'm in a good space, I really am like, wow, this is amazing. I am still going to be alive as this transition takes place, you know, whereas I think so many people think, well, when is it going to happen? And will I have popped my clogs by then, you know?
Well, absolutely, Blossom. You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I used to run a group called the Academy of Light about 20 years ago. We used to, a little group gather every Monday night, talk about all this stuff. And we used to talk about it. Nothing changed. You looked out in the world. I guess we looked through the mainstream media because it was before the internet, and you didn't see anything shifting. We kept talking about the shift, the change, the ascension, the blah, blah, blah. Nothing was changing. And now you can't say that. Like
No, it is. And it is mind-blowing. And I think, you know, I feel that those of us that are awake already are really processing all that we're discovering, you know, which is just the tip of the iceberg, I think, at the moment. And that we're doing that so that when truth does get revealed to the masses, then we light workers, players or whatever, we're in place to go, so I've been there, done that, let me help you through, you know. Absolutely. Because I really think that you can't, the things I've heard, and don't know if they're truth or not truth, you can't just go, oh, well, I'll wait and see. You have to allow some process throughout your being to absorb it and accept or not accept, but you can't. It's such a strange time because everything's changing, you know, and you can't, you know, people, which is lovely that I get so many letters from people saying, thank you for saying what I want to say and feeling what I feel. And I, you know, that, hey, you're welcome. You know what I mean? I'm just being myself and saying, look, I'm having a really shit day or I don't understand this. And what about this? Because there are so many questions we have during this time.
That's actually what I love about your work too, is that, you know, okay, so when you listen to your channelings, obviously you write the channelings and then you get, what's his name, the beautiful man?
Joe. And oh God, I know people are going, oh my God, his
voice,
energy.
It's
energy. It's just beautiful, you know. It's just amazing how he came on board, and you know, it's lovely to have that.
Oh, and so he reads the channeled part, and then you're you, and you're just so fabulously you. I love it. You're just so fabulously you, and you question and you argue with them, and you go, oh my God, you said stuff through me that didn't happen, and now I feel like an idiot.
Our street cred has gone out the window.
Street cred.
You know, it's just the way it is for me. And, you know, to be honest, many times, as I'm sure, you know, you've had the same experience, Karen, it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. It's become too big for me sometimes, and being out there, and my trust in myself and my trust in who I'm channeling, you know. And it's not that I don't trust them, it's and is it that I don't trust me? It's just this whole thing of it there being such a wide gap between them and us and what goes on in between that we can't understand. So our interpretation of something they say, you know, might be very, very different, because my thing is, but you said we'd see that, or blah, 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 blah. You know, but at the end of the day, I think all that they have offered us to teach us or remind us about love and who we are, I don't care if there's no pillars of light or there's no event or there's no, that isn't necessarily the point. The point is of us being able to find the amazing power of who we are. And I think that's really beginning to take place now.
Well, exactly. That's what my mob have said. That's what I'm teaching. It's like they, you know, like even though we were all, you know, dressing up as our higher selves and having higher self balls and galactic dinner parties in Byron Bay 20 years ago, I kind of took my focus off the ET alien thing and really focused for a lot of that time on deliberate creation, teaching deliberate creation, you know, listening to Esther Hicks and Abraham.
Oh, yeah, God.
And my mob said to me, the thing that humanity needs to understand more than anything is their power of creation. They need to understand their power. I mean, it's all very well them, you know, giving their power away to us, you know, the Galactic Federation or the spirits or the ETs or the archangels or, you know, the ascended masters, but you have the same power as us. And you need to understand that. And
I think we're you know, slowly but surely we're getting there, you know. So and I'm certainly, for myself, I am beginning to understand that, because it's all very well, isn't it, to go, oh yeah, okay, got what you said, I am very powerful, and this mantra they've given of I am the love, I'm the truth, I am the love, I am the light, I am the truth, I am. It seems amazing how that's taken off for people, and how it just does something. It the codes within that or whatever. There's something within that for me, and it seems for many that allows that power to come in. But to actually get it on a physical and an emotional and a whole level of recognizing that actually if you took yourself up there and went like this down on the earth, you could do so much. But we've been so conditioned to think we're this small instead of you know, like this, haven't we? You know, it's getting rid of all that old.
Absolutely.
And
I was listening to the channeling this morning about the I am presence, and you know, them saying, so this is something I wrote down, whether you're feeling up or down, you are still radiating light. So this is a question that, you know, my tribe have asked, because we talk about deliberate creation and flowing energy. And obviously when you're feeling elated and blissful and happy, you're flowing more energy, more light energy. When you're feeling down, you're pinching it off. But so they just remind us that it doesn't matter if you're feeling up or down, you're still radiating light energy. Right? And sometimes more brightly than others. So obviously when you're feeling happier, you're brighter, and when you're feeling, but you're still radiating. It's not like you stop ever radiating. And then they say, continue your I am presence. It immediately strengthens your divine presence or godly presence, not the words they use, but that's what I got from it. So just simply saying I am is that immediate strengthening of the connection to the divine presence that you are. So they were just talking about, again, I can't remember which one that was, the 20th or the 27th, but how important I am the love, I am the light, I am the truth, I am.
Yeah, definitely. And in these times for me, it does help me so much. Even, you know, I've said before that it's great when you're, as you say, if you're in a good mood and you're like, I am the love and all this, and then, you know, somebody can really piss me off and I'm like, I am the love, I am the
I know, love. Not so easy to find.
No, but you know, the thing is, I just think, look, we're just doing our best, you know, and I think that's the thing, that sometimes I think, well, actually, I'm not doing my best, and I can't be bothered to do my best because I'm just in that frame of mind. But that's the frame of mind I'm in at that time, and I know that it will change. You know, I can wake up the next morning and go, oh, I don't know what was going on yesterday, but today I feel so much better. We can only do what we can do amid all this madness, because I think, as you're well aware, Karen, the energies on this planet at the moment, as much as the good stuff is coming through, there's so much that's being, you know, shaken about and coming out. It's like,
there's so much being revealed, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it's in your face. You can't ignore it. Yeah,
and if that's just information, then on an energetic level, of course, it's going to affect our energy, you know, and everything. And we just, you know, just have to trust that. Okay, good, we're transmuting it, you know, or whatever, you know, because it's so big at the minute.
Well, what I loved about their, like, I feel your mob, I was going to ask you, you know, what's their message, but I think I got the gist of it just listening again this morning. You know, they're really talking to the light weavers, the light workers, the new world teachers, the difference makers, whatever you want to call yourself, the star seeds, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Whatever, yeah.
But, you know, to be the like, as the reveal is revealing the hideousness of the corruption, like the unbelievable corruption of our planet, the unbelievable control system that we've been living under, that we've been oblivious to, as this all comes up and slaps you in the face. It is up to the light weavers to hold the light as the rest of them are like questioning and crumbling.
Yes.
And that was a real call to action, I found, in whatever channeling it was, the last couple of channeling. But
I was saying to somebody last night, actually, that it's like, you know, when I was a kid, I was brought up a Catholic in a convent boarding school, and I rebelled, you know, when I was about 12 or 13. But it was like, you know, that's what my father went to church every day, you know, with his beliefs and this, that, and the other. And that's what I was brought up, you know, oh, if you're a good girl, you'll go to heaven. If you're naughty, you'll go to hell. And it was as simple as that. When I say simple, that's what you knew. And you're like, oh, and then when you now consider what is going on and what is coming into our awareness, you're like, good Lord, you know, so huge. It is so huge. And we can't possibly grab hold of it all in this space that we're in. We can't, and yet we all want these answers. There are questions people ask me, and I think, I don't know, and I don't think they'll tell you either, because there's so much out there, you know, everywhere, that we can't have all these answers now, you know.
Well, you've got to take it a little bit at a time. As you say, you know, you could cope with American spirit guides and angels, but the ET thing took a bit longer. But you know, I'm just thinking about what you're saying. You went to the Catholic Church and the priest, and every Sunday, and then you find out 20 years later that the priest that, you know, you revered and was there for your family was like a pedophile.
Well, shall I tell you? I don't know. I presume it's all right to say this on here. I don't know, but
Go for it.
I'll take, what the hell, you know, what the hell. Yeah, I had a nun put her tongue down my throat. I had a nun put her tongue down my throat and her hand up my skirt. And I promise you I do, because my poor father, having paid a lot of money for me to go to this Catholic boarding school, I let him know this at a dinner party when I'd had a bit too much to drink when I was older. And said, so what do you think about that then, Dad? You know, type thing. And he went pale, and he did say, well, I think what a waste of bloody money. He said. But truly, so I'm well aware of all that. But this particular nun, bless her, had told me that because my parents broke up and she found me walking around the field crying, and she's like, oh, what's the matter? And she told me then that her mother was dying when she was 16. She was a French nun, and she said to God, if you let my mother live, I will serve you the rest of my life. And her mother lived, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, but she became a nun. And, you know, the place, it was sad, these nuns. Most of them, I found them, when I look back now, they're very sad people. I know that sounds odd, but they
are. And I think that the rules that they live by, they don't connect you more to God. You know, the celibacy and the strictness. I mean, it gives you boundaries and discipline, but it doesn't connect you more to God. It probably takes you away more from divine essence or
whatever,
your higher self or whatever. But, you know, it's interesting. My ex-husband went to a Catholic school, and brothers, and he said there was a lot of that going on, a lot of brothers trying to fondle the young boys and everything like that. I went to a Catholic school for 1 year only because I was expelled from the other schools because I was such a rebel. But I actually had a really great experience with the nuns. I was really against the whole religious thing. I said to Mum, what am I going to do about all that religious stuff, Mum? And she said, just ignore it, darling. That's my religious background. So here I am going with nuns. They did dress in civilian clothing. They didn't have hats on. They were beautiful. And I thought about it years later, and I thought I had such anger with the church. I think I've been killed so many times, hung. I think that in this life I needed to make peace with the church, and so my experience of the nuns was a really beautiful experience. They were lovely people.
And there was a church, sort of a nunnery, is that a convent, down the road from there, and for some odd reason in the holidays I ended up going to stay there for a week, but it was more like a nursing home. Don't ask me how. And for some reason I was thinking, when I grow up I might, and I was about bloody 40. I'm too relaxed with you, I was about 14, and I went to stay there for a week for the experience, and they were lovely. And I thought, maybe I'll become one of these. They were different. It's a very interesting thing, that whole,
But I feel so, especially the pedophile, like they're told to ignore such a natural aspect of being human, their sexual energy. And not unlike Buddhist monks, they're not shown how to channel that energy. So of course it's going to be distorted. Of course they're going to be grabbing at anything that they can.
It's
you got to feel sorry for them.
It's really, all that's coming out, as you say. It's so much to digest at the minute, and I think that's why we have to accept that we're going to have blue days and happy days. And I think that the Federation or somebody has said that when you're having a blue day, then just have that, let yourself process it, and let those who are not in a bad mood that day or a down mood, those who are happy, let them do the work for you that day. And I think that's really nice. You know what I mean? It's like, and when I'm happy, it's like, people have written to me from Melbourne and all, obviously, and the lockdown, and truly, Karen, in Queensland, you see the odd person with a mask on.
Oh, it's kind of the same around here, I have to say.
And I say odd.
The odd person.
Yeah, the odd person with a mask on. But the rest of the time I can walk along the beach. I'm free to do all that. And so it's that thing, I think, isn't it, of like, and I say to them, I'll take in some deep sea breathing air for you. Because, you have to, I think, just know that when you trust that we are all one, then what we are doing for ourselves, we are doing for each other, who can't at the time,
That's beautiful, Blossom. So when you see people suffering in parts of the world, whether it's in your country or another place, you're holding the light for those that can't. That's beautiful.
I mean, this is a thing I've said so often, but maybe not for a long time, but White Cloud, years and years ago, White Cloud said, when you are shown on your TV screens, somebody who's murdered a child or whatever it may be, and the hate that is sent to that person is incredible. And he said, if you sent love to that person, the difference, and that's what I think with all of that, because this, we're asked, I find it quite difficult, this thing of being asked to forgive all that's going on. And I'm sure, like me, some of the things you hear, you think surely human beings aren't capable of such depths of whatever, and if they are, then I can't actually, if I thought of somebody doing that to my grandson or something like that, would I go, oh, that's all right, I forgive you? No, I couldn't, and yet, so I think that act of forgiveness, you with all that's going to come out, I feel the only way I can do it for me is to go above and just in general ask for a general forgiveness of what has happened to our planet, because I think on an individual level, it would be too hard for what, you know,
Too
you've
hard,
got to be very enlightened.
Possible, darling one. Too hard, but possible. Honestly, I've had clients. Had clients that I had a client who is sitting here in my living room, who we went into meditation. She was just suffering with, you know, normal, like feeling bad, feeling depression, and we both saw. Well, I saw her father being inappropriate with her as a child, right?
Yeah,
and I'm like, God damn it, she doesn't know it. How am I going to tell her? What am I going to say? And so I said to her, she started crying, and I said, what are you seeing? And she saw it, and I'm like, phew, I don't have to tell her.
Yeah.
And, you know, she cried for 2 weeks, and then she came back, but she forgave him. She had suppressed the memory, which I found fascinating. How amazing we are that we can do that. So I don't know, forgiveness is so possible. It really
and I'm sure we you know, when the dust settles, and you know, but it's doing it now. I think it's having to do it now, and I do think that thing of like, although all this is going on, it is so exciting, Karen, of where we're going. And if we truly, truly, truly know that, then it's like, bring it on, bring it all in, you know, stir it up, chuck it out, and let's move into the higher, you know, the higher light, which is just amazing when you think about it. But we've just got to get through this before.
You know, I had a fascinating conversation with a woman recently called Lois Hollis, who is in her 70s now, and she was talking about the shame guilt game, like shame blame game. And she was saying things that was amazing, like that it's not an emotion we feel, it's an energy we take on. But what she said was that it comes through the same light pathways as the higher energies, which I found really fascinating. I don't know if I completely believe it or not. And she said a lot of the light workers, you know, suffer very much from it. And so as I've had this conversation with her, the nuances of shame and guilt are so subtle and so pervasive. And so, you know, like it's such an energy that we indulge in this world.
Oh God!
How we guilt ourselves for eating a chocolate, or you know, like.
Honestly, do you know, a very interesting. Well, for me, the other, you know, how people say you've got to love yourself more, and you know, just love yourself and all that, and so. I get that, and I try, you know, I do this thing sometimes of looking in the mirror and looking into my eyes and going, I love you, I love you, you know, and do all this, and I'm not quite getting it. And the other day, I was just finishing a meditation, and I was just having a stretch, and I sort of was doing this sort of yoga thing, you know, just a bit like that, and I was like, and I started hugging myself, and I was like, I love you, and I started doing it as if I was hugging somebody else that I do love.
Oh,
not saying I don't love me, but when I was doing it, that feeling of I love you, and I stayed there, and I've done it quite often since, and I thought it is honestly because physically you can feel the love that you're giving to yourself. Try it. Do try it another time, because
I'm totally going to try that. And that's even better than Louise Hayes's mirror work. You know, like Louise, she would say, as you said, look in the mirror and tell yourself. Yeah. Actually, that's more visceral. That's beautiful.
Truly, honestly, I hope more people try it, because I was like, this is a winner. It felt so good for me, and I thought it's so easy to do, and I really felt myself giving myself.
I'm just doing it now. I'm imagining myself hugging someone I love and adore, and now I'm imagining myself doing that to me. Oh, it feels really good.
Honestly, and if you do that and go, I love you, and because when I hug people, I'm very aware of my heart, not what I'm doing, but I'm aware of my heart activating to their heart. And so it's like when I do this, I'm actually feeling that love that I give to other people. I can actually feel myself giving it to myself, you know.
That's
and try it, everybody. Try it. That is might not work for everybody, but it really does. Work.
Keep doing it until it does work. That's what I would say. Just if it doesn't work, try again. Yeah. I'm just because that's fantastic.
Fake it till you make it.
Look, you know, I think that as light weavers, light workers, we're so good at giving, and we've got to remember to like give that same energy to us.
Absolutely,
and that's exactly what you're saying. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh.
Karen, I know I've got this old chap here. Can
you got
just
the
pop
chap
it?
there?
I'm like, wait a minute, what do you want to say? I've got no idea, but I just think he wants to make sure that he's not
he's not forgotten.
We get in on time because we're like going so easily. Okay.
I first of all say hello to you and welcome to you, my friend, and welcome to everybody that may be watching or listening or whatever it is. You know, for me these days, it is, I joke with Blossom sometimes if she says, "Are you ready for today?" And I might show her putting on a suit or something to show that I am preparing, because I get very excited from the point of view that I am given this opportunity. That for me could make Blossom cry instantly, because when you think of what it involves, etc., to have this opportunity to come through from the place in which I reside and offer a bit of comfort in these troubled times. And truly, my friend, I do not call myself a great philosopher or anything of that nature. All that my desire and the desire of all those who come through in love is to assist those, as you know, to remember their love and who they are. That is all. In all truth, that is all I care about, because that is the answer to everything. That is how everything is going to become this beautiful new planet by people, by souls becoming the love that they are. And it is when you get lost in all that is going on, all you need do is take a breath and say, what does make sense? And what does make sense? Love. When you hear a child laugh, when you hear souls laugh, when you see an act of kindness, when you watch a video of people and animals loving and connecting each other, go back to that every time, because that is all that matters, and that is what is required to see you through. That alone. You do not truly need to, but we understand the need for, to involve yourself in anything else if you chose not to. But as human beings, of course, it might be, I would say, unavoidable. But as you know, and as I have expressed, one can feel, I trust, the passion in my tone, in that this is just the beginning of a very topsy-turvy time. It is, and it is going to become, you think you are troubled with some things now, but this is nothing. And I do not say this, of course, to put fear into souls. I say this to put strength into souls, because, as you know, so many wanted to be down here, so many souls, but the chosen ones were the strongest of the strong, because it was known what ordeal would have to be faced. And now that one is facing it, know that you are here because you deserve it, because you are strong enough to see it through and change things around. And so by hanging on to that when one is feeling low, then it is literally, that is why we say, I am the light, and the mantra that is coming out, because that takes you to that place of, I remember why I said I'll go down there during those times. I remember, yes, I can do it, and I will do it, and it will be a case of, and they all lived happily ever after.
Beautiful.
And so I thank you for this time to allow me to pop in and have my 5 minutes worth or
Can
whatever.
I ask you some questions, White Cloud?
By all means, and Blossom always needs me to say, because interestingly enough, for Blossom, the question time, she finds a little concerning in case a question cannot be answered. And she says, but to me, but White Cloud, if you can't answer it, then I don't understand why not, from the place that I am coming from. And yet I say to her, have I ever let you down, Blossom? And she says, no. And she says, have I let you down, White Cloud? And I say, no. So it is just a little issue Blossom has with questions sometimes, that is all. But she, after all these years, she is becoming more at ease with it. It is because, as well, if I may say, for many that channel, when a direct voice comes in, as I do, the soul or the consciousness of that human would take itself out, and the being will come in and just take over. And then that soul, who the body belongs to, does not know what has been said during that time. They have simply offered their body for that. Whereas for me and for Blossom, Blossom is in here, I am in here, and we meet in the middle. And so therefore she can interfere sometimes. And we laugh about that, because I say, get out the way. But her humanness is like, but we don't know the answer, etc., etc. So I ramble on, but please ask a question. It will be funny if I say I cannot answer it.
Nothing too complicated, don't stress. Look, I was just wondering what your relationship is with Blossom. Have you lived with her in a physical incarnation on Earth? Have you been together, in the Indigenous tribe?
And Blossom is freaking out, because truly these things do not flow in for her, because it has been said by others that we were once married in a past lifetime. Okay. I am kicking her out of the way at this time. It is that I would not say that Blossom and I have been in that sense married in a way. This is huge, and Blossom is getting emotional. It is because Blossom and I are one. And that, so really, as much as she finds this difficult, I am she and she is me. And so therefore I have had every relationship with her in past life as myself.
Yes.
That's a bit big for me.
I already knew that, Blossom.
And people have said, well, obviously, that of course you're White Cloud, and all that kind of thing. And on some level, I can go, okay, yep, he's, perhaps he is part of my higher self, and all that. I can accept that, but definitely, for me, when he's coming through and just all that, at this time, it sounds crazy, but it doesn't work for me to say, okay, he is me. It's because I can feel the definite change in energy.
You want to maintain the separateness.
Yeah.
Because that's the world we've come to explore. We've come to explore separation, and the separation is fun. The fact that you're you and I'm me, and we seem completely different and separate, is like the game.
Yeah. And also I know as well, like, quite a lot of my family obviously feel very connected with White Cloud and all this, and a lot of people do. And if I go, well, yeah, I am White Cloud, it's different. And it's different for them, how they look upon me and all that kind of thing.
This is how my guide said to me. I had a client once who, his mother had died when he was about 2. And he had a 30-year-old or 30-something-year-old daughter who had sent him to me. And he wasn't really into all this stuff, but I put him into a guided meditation and I asked him a question because I got the answer, and I said, is your daughter your mother? And he said no. And I said, because the guide said, ask him this question. But I misinterpreted it, as we do when we,
Yeah.
And they said, oh, God, Karen, ask the question differently. And I said, okay. So then I said, is the soul of your mother the soul of your daughter? And at that point, he started bawling because he realized that this woman that he had missed for 65 years had been in his life for like 35 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And, but it wasn't. And I had a chat with my mob about that. And I said, okay, so why the difference? And they said, well, it's not his mother because his mother is a completely different personality, a different idea, a different creation. The soul is multidimensional and creates these different characters. It's like saying, is the character in this movie the same character? Does that mean? No, different characters, same actor.
Yeah. It's so true. And I, White Cloud has always spoken about, the rose, and that, that if you look upon the rose perhaps as your soul group, and, the rose has got so many petals on it, and and then that goes into a rose bush. But like even, you can be, I have a very close friend of mine in the UK, and she and I are on the same petal. We're not the petal of the same rose. We're on the same petal. We've sometimes suggested that we are the same soul and etc. Because we just feel that way about it. So but it's just different because. I suppose because of the love he brings through, Karen, that love that he brings through, and I guess in my human form and with all my inadequacies and my strivings and whatever, I sort of don't, I'm not ready, maybe as pathetic as that sounds, to put myself in that situation because I don't come from that place down here now. And yes, we can go, but we all come from this place, and I get that. But in this human embodiment, we certainly, I feel, do not feel the same and do not find it as easy as when we're up there going, knowing what and who we are.
Oh God, it's definitely not as easy, but isn't that the challenge of the ride, is that it is so difficult? I mean, isn't that the beauty of it, that it is so difficult? Like when it's easy, it's too damn easy. You do a crossword puzzle that's really easy, it's kind of like,
true.
I don't know.
So true.
The difficulty of it, of us remembering who we are and living our true essences, I think that's exactly why we came. It's exactly why we're here.
And to expand and, our knowingness, I guess, is because everything is always changing, isn't it? Everything is always changing. So, I get that. But when people say, they visualize and try to visualize the new time that we're going to be in when, everything has changed and everything. And I think, what do I visualize? What would I visualize? And I guess I just think, I can't visualize as a whole, but I just think happiness is what I think, is what I think is. I'd like to be happy. I'd really, and it's not that I'm not happy at times. Sometimes I'm really happy at times, but other times I'm not.
You seem very happy, darling.
I know, but then look, I'm on, I'm having an interview. I'm hardly going to go, bloody, Am I?
You have such joyousness. That's why I thought to reach out to you, because you were so full of joy, and I'm just like, this is. I'm so looking forward to this. I'm like, this is going to be so much fun.
I do. I mean, even in my misery sometimes, I even make myself laugh when I'm on I'm feeling miserable. I'll make myself laugh about how miserable I'm being. I do laugh a lot. But that's not to say that, because sometimes it can all get too much for me. And I just think, God, what have we done as human beings and all that kind of thing? I find it very difficult. And I used to get very, very depressed in my early teens and 20s. And somebody once said to me I was a manic depressive, but like you with Esther Hicks and understanding how to be positive and what, how all that manifesting and law of attraction works. That changed, that with White Cloud and the Federation changed my life, because I understood that, no point in moaning, because you've just bought this to yourself. If you want a bit to feel good, then start feeling.
Look, I've been a bit peeved over the last few days, and I keep going, are you doing that? Are you going to do that? And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, are you going to do that? I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, okay, do I really want to do this? But I'm sort of hanging on to why I'm doing it, and I'm so right about it. And I'm like, but I'm always the witness to it. I'm always witnessing it, and then checking in. Is this where you're going to go? Like, knowing there's a choice. Because I think that most of us, as in humans, when we're upset, we don't understand that there's a choice in that. We're just like, we just get run away with the anger or the frustration. We just, it seems like it overwhelms us and there's no choice.
Yeah.
But I'm always reminded, whether it's from my consciousness or the mob, it's like, how long are you going to do that for? There's always a choice.
And I totally get that, because, I have a lot of people asking about the free will thing, and, but it's too deep to go into now, I reckon, but because I don't understand it, because it is fine for me to go, like, do you want to choose to be happy right now or sad in my life situation, which is bloody lovely. I'm not somebody stuck in a prison or, whatever, or in a bomb, a country that's getting bombed all the time. It's very, very different. And I do understand that. And yet, as I don't mean this disrespectfully in any way, because in this, I'm not aware, maybe in another lifetime I've been there, done that, but you still somehow have that choice to choose love or fear, even if you've just watched a child get blown up. You know what I mean? And that's, I really don't, Karen, I don't mean that flippantly or nonchalantly in any way. But I guess there is always that choice.
One of the most amazing people I ever saw speak was back in 95, it was a while ago, was a guy that was in the Vietnam War for 7 years, and he was in a coffin-sized prison cell, and they let him out once a week or once a month to walk around, but they weren't allowed to communicate or talk to each other. But he said that the prisoners created like a Morse code, their own Morse code with banging. But he said that he found absolute bliss and freedom in that, because he went in. His outer circumstances were beyond horrific. He had to eat and defecate in this sort of like, he could sit up, but he couldn't, it was about 6 foot and about 3 foot. And he found bliss, and I've never forgotten that conversation.
I know. Because I've seen some things in my past that just wouldn't leave me, and I guess maybe it's happened to me before, in another lifetime, I don't know. And that thing literally of being all day, every day in a coffin-sized thing where you can hardly breathe and you're taped up, and I was like, whoa, I found it so hard. And I thought the only choice you would have in the end is to go in, because what would you do? You can't fight getting out of that, or, whatever. And I think, in a, some perhaps would say, as you say, a blessing in disguise, but dear God, that for me is like one of my phobias, I guess, or whatever, of being like confined and really out of my control. But very much so. That's a beautiful story. Yeah,
there are some magnificent teachers on the planet. There's that guy Nick Vujicic. Have you heard of him? He is an evangelistic Christian, so he will talk about the devil and hell and all that thing. But he has no arms and no legs. No worries, mate. He's such a joy.
The sports guy. Yes, of course I know. Yes, sorry. I don't mean, of course I know, but now I know. Yes. Yeah.
He has like 2 billion followers. You think you got a lot of followers? Whoa!
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh wow. Yeah, he's amazing. And that's it. You watch people like that, and you go, wow. Get off your high horse blossom, stop your little moaning about this, that, and the other, and take that example as this is how we should be, really, just could be no shootings here. Could Okay,
I've got that question posed, because I'm going to ask it, even though I said I think I know the answer, but I'm going to pose.
Yeah.
So what is the main, when the Galactic Federation came through you, what is it they want to remind humanity of? Yeah.
It's very interesting you say this, and I haven't got the answer, but you said it earlier, and it's they my mob, as you say, they call themselves, they've never called themselves the Galactic Federation.
Oh, haven't they?
They've owned it the Federation of Light. And truly, and I've asked about this a long time ago, and they said the Galactic Federation is a huge organization, and they call themselves the overseers of the overseers, whatever people want to interpret that as. But it's interesting how there is a thing, and many people will put, oh, here's a channeling from Blossom Goodchild by the Galactic Federation of Light. And I don't write to them and say, please don't say that. You know, that it, to me, in a sense, it doesn't matter. And yet somewhere in me is a thing that I wanted to say to you today. They call themselves the Federation of Light, not the Galactic Federation. But they say it is all part of a huge organization when I've questioned it. What's your take on that, Karen?
Well, absolutely. They're just saying the same thing. They're saying the Galactic Federation has just like any federation or any council has a specific job. The Galactic Federation looks after, the souls that are incarnated in other worlds, whereas the Federation of Light looks over all of them. So this is a bit what my mob have said, like I said to you before we started, they can't really even explain themselves who they are in a way that I fully understand. But, they're a stream of consciousness. They're the combination. They're the combination of all that's been lived on this planet and many others. And so you're talking to that knowledge. It's like you're talking to knowledge.
That's so true, because I don't ever... I feel that, the Federation are a consciousness. They never say I, they say we. Yeah. And I don't feel like with White Cloud, I am aware of his energy. His energy there, and his being, if you like. With them, I am not aware of one individual. It is just, it's just telepathy. And that's what I say to people. I don't have any proof at all, no proof at all, about who I'm speaking to.
I have to say the proof is in the pudding, really. If you listen to the messages that you're bringing through, you hear the truth. You don't need proof. You hear the truth in your own heart. What better proof do you need?
I need it. No, I don't need a lot more. But no, but it's just, I totally get you. And yet for me, I know, if there's been a few times when I've gone to start a channel, and by say the third paragraph, there's just one word, I go, no, this isn't you. And I just abort it. I just know. And it's happened enough times for me to recognize it, and I just stop and leave it for the day or whatever. And also I know because they use words that I don't use. And there are times when I think I know what that means. And what I used to at the time, in my innocence or whatever, as I was learning all this, I used to stop there and then, Google what the word meant to see if it fitted in with that sentence. And I go, oh, good, it does. And it always did brilliantly. But now I just put question mark by it. And then after the channeling, I'll go back and just clarify that, that word, because they're not words I would use. They just don't speak in the way that I do.
They expand your vocab. They've totally expanded mine. And I find myself using those words in sentences and I'm going, whoa. God, you're sounding really intelligent. I said, even watching my shows back, I go, wow.
You're so like me, Karen. You're so like me. I go, I might say something. I think, oh, who said that? Because I sound like I know what I'm talking about,
I've totally expanded my vocab. I did a bit of a message, I suppose. I guess I call them messages more than channelings, for someone. Some Indigenous tribe came in. I was in the city and they said, we want, we're celebrating what you're doing. We want to bring the Indigenous law. And they spelt it out, Lore. And I'm like, all right. And then I had to go home and Google, what is that? the Indigenous law. Yeah, back to the city, they said. Yeah,
so what is that? What did it mean, LORE?
The
as
Indigenous ways, I suppose.
Okay.
The Indigenous, not law as we understand, LAW, but the Indigenous
ways.
I didn't have to look it up again.
No, I get it though now. I've picked up, the culture type of...
Culture, something like that, I'd have to reread it because I can't remember. But it was interesting that they spelt it out for me.
Yes, I know. It is fascinating, and I reckon they must get so frustrated with me at times. But at the end of the day, I think, look, if they say, because often I sort of think, what on earth did you choose me for?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question. They are not frustrated with you at all. Can I just tell you what they've said? They are totally honouring everything that you've agreed to do, and they are not frustrated with you at all. They actually, they're saying you're doing and this is them speaking, not me. I know it sounds like me because you're doing a wonderful job, and they're really pleased, and they're amazed, not amazed, they're really happy with kind of that word, excited, happy, grateful with the amount of people that are listening to the message. They're really,
that's lovely.
What's the word? They're really celebrating that.
Cool, lovely. Lovely. Yeah. Thanks very much for that. Thank you. Because, you don't really know how... Well, it's lovely because, when I do get emails and things from people, it truly, although I do try to make the effort to reply to all my emails. I don't know why I'm mad, but I do. I think it's respectful because people have respectfully written to me. And it's just their gratitude to me and the Federation because of how it is helping them. And I feel so, honestly, Karen, I know you'll feel the same with what you did. I feel so honoured that I have this gift, or they allowed me to let this gift come through.
Well, before White Cloud disappeared, I was going to ask him that question. I was going to ask him. Relevant. Yeah, okay. They just said, I was going to ask him when you and he had that agreement. So this was the question I was going to ask. Did you make that agreement in spirit or on earth? And they're just saying irrelevant because, because.
And my answer would have to be in spirit.
In spirit. Well, because you are an aspect of he is an aspect of you. It's irrelevant, the question, because the question denotes separateness, and where there's no separateness. Anyway,
okay.
Yeah. So it's it's like a 3D question. But anyway, you ask these questions.
Cool.
That's what you ask these questions.
Yeah. No, thank you for that about the Federation, because it is lovely, and I never in my wildest dreams, all I ever wanted to do was be in the theatre type of thing. My parents were in the theatre, and that was all I was interested in doing. And so to find myself in this position and in this situation all these years later, it blows me away. It really does, that I think all these people all over the world are reading my telepathic conversation, I trust, with these beings, and I just, when I actually sit down and think about it, it blows my head off, because I do joke saying, as a clairvoyant, which I'm not a clairvoyant, but I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. But it's just, I just think, good Lord, I never imagined. And I still find it quite difficult to not accept. I accept it, but I don't know. It's just sort of normal for me now, I suppose, if you know what I mean. It's what I do, and there we go.
Well, it's so needed and wanted on the earth, especially now. It's always been needed and wanted, but especially during these times of great transition and upheaval and disclosure and exposure and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And what they're showing me is that there are so many, so many, they're not giving me a number, like a lot, like a huge number of people that agreed to do this work that haven't quite got it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
So that all those fears and trepidations and worries and concerns that you have, they've let override them. So
because it's a big thing, as you know, to put yourself out there. Yeah, definitely. And and there are a lot of people that write, and they're very much in touch with other beings and everything, but for them, they just choose to just keep it to a small group or whatever, because that feels comfortable for them, type thing. And I guess maybe, I don't know, but with my passion for performing, and truly, I don't, my passion, if I'm rehearsing in my front room, I get a bigger kick out of that. It's not the people that I want, that I need as a performer. It's just the doing of
the performance,
the performance. And I guess sort of that has helped me get, as a performer, and doing that all my life, has helped me to be sort of more in the limelight, if you want to call it that I'm not so, I was terribly shy, and I've sort of over, when I say terribly, but I didn't look like I was or appear like I was, but I was. But I've sort of got over that now, and I just, I think that White Cloud says as well, there are many reasons why I'm an actress, and one of them is that people have to, because it's been said, quite a few times before, that, well, she's just acting, isn't she, with White Cloud and everything. And so he says it's up to them to be able to feel his energy or not, and I'm beyond, whatever. If they think I'm acting good, I'm a good actress, if you see what I mean, but I know for me that I am not acting, but people have to, who sort of find all this stuff a bit woo, they have to sort of feel in their heart the truth of the energy that he's bringing through.
Absolutely. When you listen to something, I had a beautiful woman on the show, and she was doing some channeling, and she got very emotional. And as I was editing it, I was in my linear human mind, right? A critical mind. I'm having this thought, oh God, she's a bit over the top, isn't she? And then my guides came through and they said, okay, rewind that bit and now listen to it and put your focus on your heart. And so instead of being in my, a bit over the top, I went straight from my head to my heart, and I listened back to that piece that I thought, and I just instantly started weeping at the beauty of it. And it's such a different frequency when you listen to something with your heart and not your head. It's so different. So if people listen to anything, whether it's coming from Blossom or anyone else, if you listen with your heart, you'll know whether it's right for you or not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And people, I'm totally fine with people, like, if they just say, they're writing time after time and go, the Federation doesn't, they're picking holes in them, and I just write back and go, well, then go and listen to another channeler. If you don't like what they're saying, what do you keep coming back to me for, moaning? If you don't like it, go somewhere else. I don't get it. I truly, they just like to have a go at me for because they need to, I suppose. It's funny. Yeah, there's some interesting people out and about.
Oh, no, darling. And that's the vulnerability. Look, I was, after speaking to the beautiful Lois, I just, ask everyone to go and listen to Lois. She's so not heard. She's been doing this work all her life, talking about shame, guilt. I listened to Brené Brown the other night on the Red Table Talk, and, talking about vulnerability and how vulnerability and shame and guilt are all connected. And it is that place of vulnerability that is the most beautiful place that we can speak from. And that's the thing, as channelers or healers, or, when you put yourself out there and you put yourself into this place of huge vulnerability, open to attack.
Yeah. Yes.
So huge.
Yes.
And yet when you're willing to do that, how it changes the world, like this willingness to be vulnerable is where it's at, Blossom. I'm getting passionate.
But it's so, it's like sort of being on stage as well. Sometimes I've suffered, sometimes I'm getting better. Sometimes I've had certain productions where I have just lost my nerve. And that, because it's that thing of being out there in front of a lot of people, and anything could happen. Your knickers could fall down, anything. You can, and it's in front of a lot of people, and so that is where the fear comes from, isn't it? Is that I'm going
fear of looking stupid.
I'm going to make a fool out of myself, And And that's the same thing, to be honest, when the federations say something and that it perhaps doesn't transpire as
wrong.
like don't
Yeah.
do this because people will go, well, they said, which they often do, they said this, they said that, blah 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 blah. And so in a sense that's sort of worn off on me, because I'm like, let's not do that, but, you know, which is not trusting really. But it's really is. Now I've realized how I've changed so much. And you know, when they were saying about there's a huge announcement followed by another lockdown coming, I don't know whether that's going to happen or not, but I didn't go, I'm not going to write that, because what if it doesn't happen?
Well,
you know
look,
what I mean?
my mob said the same thing. They said September, which we're at the end of, 30th today, is going to be a very difficult month. If there's like a lot more shift hitting the fan this month. Well, in my world, maybe California fires and stuff, but it didn't happen. So I said, September's finished, didn't happen. And they said, well, maybe we didn't get the exact date, you know, so it's still to come. But just as you said, more
and more people are saying, because I've heard now, you know, October's a biggie, you know, everything's, it's coming up a biggie. And I go, yeah, right. I truly, and that's not being disrespectful, it's just my standard thing is, well, let's wait and see, shall we? Because I don't take, I just, so much you hear that it's going to happen on such and such, or during the next couple of weeks, and it doesn't. And I think we just have to really, really trust that all that is going on that we know nothing about, you know, we just have to have that bit more patience, because when it does come about, we're going to go, my God, no wonder it took so long. There's a lot to deal with there.
And they're just reminding just to stay in the moment, you know, forget about tomorrow and yesterday, like just deal with what's happening in this moment.
And your happiness, because I found at the beginning of all this, you know, in March, April type of thing, I couldn't find my joy, because I thought it's false joy, because we're living under this huge lie, you know, as far as I was concerned, and everybody's being fed this huge lie. So how can I be, you know, like, I'm good actually. And then I've thought, I've got over that now, because it is so much about finding our own joy, as we were saying, so that we can be joyful, because that's what we're here to do, to anchor that light, you know, even amongst all this.
As people,
you know,
swallow the Kool-Aid, hook, line and sinker. I'm using Australianisms now. Probably people going, what the hell is she saying? Anyway, as they swallow it, hook, line and sinker, I think it's not for us to judge that. I had my ex-husband bring my daughter home the other day, and and he sat in my living room with his mask on and wouldn't take it off to talk to me, and I'm like, seriously? But you know, and so my critical mind goes, oh, you idiot, you know, you can take your mask off while you sit in my house. But nope. Anyway, but I'm just like, as that happens, it is not for us to judge, as I was judging. It's for us to hold that light, you know, as people do live the fear. Definitely. For us to judge that they're living in fear. That's huge.
It absolutely, and just send the love, really, isn't it? Cool.
But oh, darling, we'd be yakking for hours. Like, anything else you'd like to say before?
Because I'm suddenly thinking my husband might come in the door soon with my dog coming, because I always send them out. So I always send them out when I'm doing a thing or something. No, but I would like to say it's been an absolute delight. Karen, thank you so much for inviting me. It's really lovely.
You are such a joy. Honestly, you say you're not that happy. I just find you're happy personified, honestly. It's just beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, when all the lockdowns are finished, maybe you can come to Sydney and we can have some little gatherings.
Oh,
I don't know. I might come up
absolutely. Yes.
Did you do physical gather? Like, have you done? Do you do physical channelings and stuff like that, or?
What do you mean, out and about with people?
Yeah, out and about.
Yeah. I do, and I haven't done them for a while. The last thing I did was in Hawaii. I did a workshop. I took a workshop in Hawaii. So we spent. I mean, God, talk about, you know, tricky life. We spent the morning swimming with the wild dolphins. There was a group. I got a group of 16 of us, and they came from all over the world. And my friend here, Peppy, she's a mermaid, and she worked with the dolphins and everything here. And so we went. She'd been to Hawaii quite a few times with people to take them swimming. So we did this group. We did the dolphins in the morning for 3 or 4 hours, and they just, oh my God. And then in the afternoon, we did 2 hours White Cloud. And then in the evening, we did a sort of chit chat thing, and White Cloud would be there. But we did it for a week, and it was, honestly, it was the best thing that could have happened, because we had 2 days to get back before they shut Hawaii down. And then, we came back to a world of no toilet paper. After being with the dolphins and the raising our vibration, suddenly there's no toilet paper. But it was, and I really, and I did one in Bali the year before, because I used to just do like a daily, a couple of hours, and a sort of little event thing, and people would come. And somehow that stopped because it just didn't feel right. But from doing Bali and Hawaii to do like a week's workshop, and White Cloud just talks for the 2 hours, really. And it's like, because he can come through so easily now, it's just like sitting chewing the cud with everybody, and everybody relaxes. So much takes place. So that for me, doing like a weekly thing or something like that feels really, I thought, this is where this sits well, with me. So who knows when that will next be able to happen, because we definitely go back to Hawaii.
Have you been to
Bali.
Sydney? Have you been down to Sydney?
Yeah, I have. I did a White Cloud thing down there maybe in 2012, or a long time, 8 years ago or something.
Who did you do? Was there a group that organised you? It wasn't there with the Academy, was it?
No. I sort of, I had some friends who helped organize it, who lived down there, and we just we did it that way, type of thing. But always happy to do. To be honest, Karen, I got fed up because it's just me. I don't have an entourage of a team, and nobody. But I say that, but I have so much backup. So much backup. It's lovely.
You got your hubby.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying. People say, "Oh, please, could you make sure this email gets to Blossom Goodchild?" I think, well, there ain't no secretary here, that type of thing. But I got fed up of trying to organise White Cloud things, and like 3 people had turned, and I was like, this is too much work, and for what? I don't know. And so I sort of stopped doing that. So now I put out there, you sort it all out and I'll do it, but I'm just not made that way for that administrative side of things. I find so difficult, and I do my best. But so I'm always open to, to come and let White Cloud
have a yarn,
get out and about.
For people listening on audio, your website is blossomgoodchild.com, and it's been just a blessing. Thank you again so much.
And to you, thank you so much. I feel like I've known you forever, and I probably have. All right, darling, thank you.
How much fun was that with the fabulous Blossom Goodchild? I knew she would be fabulous. I just knew it. She's just wonderful. I love her. And it is great that she's so real in her channelings, that she's kind of in doubt and wiring and sort of questioning the guidance that comes through. I do that all the time too. We have these beautiful linear minds connected to ego, which is rooted in separateness. It's all the fun of being human, really. It's just, it's a fun ride. Enjoy the ride. We can be holier than thou, but we can still enjoy being human. Oh, she's just fabulous. I just loved her. Look, the channelings are really profound, especially now that she's got, and I've forgotten his name already, the beautiful man that does the voice for the Federation of Light. His voice is so beautiful. If you go on Blossom's YouTube channel, you will see him interviewing her. So you get to see what he looks like, and you get to hear that liquid gold voice of his. It's like smooth as honey. It's beautiful. So much fun. I don't think I've got too much else to say. We said it all, didn't we, during that conversation? Oh, such a real conversation. So beautiful. Remember to join up to our group. We've got Laurie Ladd coming in on Monday, my Monday, Sunday in the States. We're combining my group and David's group, who's a part of my group, and then he started his own group. We're all in this together. We don't have a competitive bone in our body. We're sort of all in this together. You'll hear me talk about other people's shows and promoting other people's shows and promoting other people's work, when I could be on YouTube simply doing the same as Blossom, just channeling and just talking about myself. But we're all here. We're all in this together. And one of the most profound things that came through from my mob was how many people are here that said that they would do the work, the light work, the channeling, the talking, the, whatever, singing, the getting the message out there, that have not. They were giving me a sense of that. And it's not easy, to be vulnerable and to put yourself out there, but it's well worth it. It's so well worth it. And again, just like Blossom's story, so many people are in pain or depression until they do the work that they said they're going to do. And then when they do actually embark on it, however way you do it, write books, sing music, make things, invent things, start charities, start YouTube channels, start podcasts, until they actually do the work that they came to do, they said they do, those ailments, though, that depression, that pain, or what did she say? She was having fits when she was 17. It all stops, because it's kind of like your wake-up call and your message. And you're resisting what you said you came here to do. So do it. And if you want some help with that, you can reach out to me for sessions, or you can join our little tribe. Love you all. Remember to buy the book Awakened by Death. It's a beautiful book, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.